If you have a name on the screen, that name is correct. If not, if you could just give me your full name and let me know who you're representing here today, whether you're a uh, the owner, member of the applicant team, a neighboring property owner, or someone else related to the project. So I'll start with Jacob.
Morning. Coming through.
Yep.
I'm a neighboring property owner on Loth Street. Full name is Jacob Whitty.
Could you spell Whitty for me?
Witte.
Okay, great. Welcome. All right. So we have William McKenna here.
Hi, I'm I guess the owner of the project.
Okay, great. Welcome. Stan Messerly.
Yeah, I represent the applicant.
Okay, great. Welcome. I have someone under MMA admin.
Yeah, that's me, Michael McInturf, representing the owner.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
I have Steve Almond here.
Yes, Steve Allman, part of the applicant team.
All right, welcome. Brian.
Yeah, Brian Raymond representing the applicant.
Okay. You said Raymond?
Raymond.
Okay. All right, and I see we also have Wes Menzel here from the City Zoning Department. Welcome, Wes.
Good morning.
All right. On the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here before we get started? No? Okay, great. All right. So I need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll begin. So this is the January 15th, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. Again, my name is David Sturkey. I'll be presiding over the hearing today. The case before us today is case number ZH20240160. That's 2121 Rice Street. The purpose of the hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. During this portion, I'll allow anyone that is representative of the owner or the applicant team to tell me about the project, the relief they're requesting, why they think it's important, or I'm sorry, why they think I should grant that relief, and anything else that they believe is important for me to know before I make a determination on this case. One of you can speak, all of you can speak. It's really up to you how you want to orient the presentation. The members of the public, and I think today that's just Jacob Whitty. You'll have an opportunity, if you would like, to provide any testimony after the applicant has told us about the project. I'll then turn it over to the planning department to provide any testimony in addition to the staff report that they've submitted. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to that testimony that was provided in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. Okay, last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. If you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that's you, I'd like to collectively swear all of those people in right now. So if you could please take yourself off of mute, raise your right hand. I'll need everyone to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. Okay, who's going to be taking the lead here for us from the applicant side?
I think that might be me.
All right, floor is yours.
All right, let me see if I can get it on screen here. Oops. How do we look? Do we see it?
We do.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so this will be brief. I think we're looking for some forgiveness, really, mostly in the front, and then by default of selecting the lot, there are 2 other variances that sort of come with it because it's a narrow lot. So the primary, the site is located on Rice Street, as you can see, located here. Currently, there's actually another building that has been built over here since this is on the aerial that's a little behind as far as being caught up. From a Project standpoint, we are looking for some site relief, essentially just at the front. We would like to move the primary building forward, essentially sitting it on the front of the lot directly to Race Street. Incidentally, the building that was not shown on there has also been designed that way. It allows obviously a single car garage. It also allows us to stay off of the backside of the site itself where the grade does tend to fall into the alleyway on Window Alley. So our goal is to move it forward, and we do believe that it conforms in general with the existing buildings that are there, and the most likely fact that the other buildings that come to bear will probably do the same thing for multiple reasons. So we think that we fit well into the neighborhood. So we are looking for the 20-foot setback relief on the front. The other two variances are based on the size of the lot, because this is a unique lot in a sense that it's only 20 feet wide versus 25, which came with the sale of the lot. And then the amount of square footage, I think because of that, causes us to be an overage of about 600 square feet or so. So.
Okay. And the plan is for a single family home, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, got it. And you mentioned some other homes on the property. As I look through just the sort of the Google Street View, would you say that the 0 feet front setback is consistent with the development, the existing development on the street?
Yes, I would say that it is. You can see, can you see my screen? I just want to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the front here, these are already up there. There is a new building here as well that also fronts onto the property line. This one does as well, and down here on the street. So we feel like we are conforming despite the current sort of code restrictions that are on.
Got it. Okay. I think I have any other questions right now.
Okay.
Did anyone else from the applicant side or owner side like to make any comments about the project?
I'll just be brief, just to sort of talk a little bit about the spirit of the project. It, being such a sort of a small and unique lot, the idea was not to try to do too much. And that's sort of like the minimalistic design, relatively small footprint that we came up with. And I think it works pretty well. I spoke, I got to know Destiny, who actually who built the house that is 2 lots over. And we actually, I reviewed, her zoning hearing, and this sort of, it conforms with what she had been able to get approved. So.
Do you know what the address is on that?
I think
particular
2127.
Okay.
And I think that this had been a land bank property, and I think that one of the things that the land bank wants to do is they want to have their properties redeveloped, but sort of in a in a thoughtful way. And I think that this kind of it achieves that. It's not, we're not trying to build a big multifamily. It's a single family. It's sort of meant for somebody to move in and live there, and sort of it. And I think that it would also in that area there's a lot of empty lots, and I think that there's actually location wise it's a good area. It's accessible to schools, UC, hospital, Findlay Market. So I think that it would help the neighborhood, like the more thoughtful building that goes on.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mr. McKinnon. Anyone else from the applicant owner side like to provide any testimony before we move on to public comment? Okay. Hearing none, go ahead and stop the sharing here. Mr. Whitty, is there anything you'd like to add to the conversation here?
There is. I would like to ask what will be done to stabilize the hill in the back of the property, and then also the hill on the adjacent properties of it, because there's old stone foundations and walls currently holding the hill back from South Weddell Alley.
Okay, I'll allow the applicant team to respond directly if they would like right now.
Yeah, so right now, the reason why we've requested the relief is obviously to move it to the front so that we don't get into any sort of primary stabilization that would be for the building itself, which then allows us to sort of look at that as more or less a landscape issue. Certainly some civil issues involved due to the retainage. So we have not yet sort of gotten into how we would plant and or sort of stabilize that slope. We don't see it as a major structural element. We know what it is very well, and we do plan to sort of do something, but we haven't really embraced that yet. We wanted to make sure we were good with where the building was before we started to entertain what that would take.
On
Sorry,
I
go ahead,
guess
Mr.
to address that a little bit, I've looked at the back of the alley there. You know, to the left, if you're looking at the property, I think that the land is owned by like the OTR community housing. I think, I don't know the history, but I think that they removed part of that retaining wall, and they sort of graded the slope down. Jacob, if you live around there, I think you'd probably be more familiar. I've walked the property multiple times, but that's sort of what I saw there. And then to the right, I think where Destiny had built her house, she did some repointing of the existing retaining wall. And basically, what we would be doing would be one, as Michael mentioned, we would be staying away from that with the initial construction, but being mindful that if necessary, like we would be doing repairs to that retaining wall to make sure that we're not that the construction doesn't cause the wall to deteriorate any further. And the way that there is a little bit of a drop off right now, which I believe is where the old foundation was. I think that the house that was there was torn down. I believe somewhere in the maybe 2010, somewhere in that time. I believe a lot of houses were torn down in that time frame. But basically, to put in the new foundation, we would be sort of taking out the old foundation and putting in, and the house itself would sort of, because we're going to be digging and putting footers and a foundation, that would also help sort of stabilize that portion. If that makes any sense to you.
It was also part of the reason we did not go to a basement or anything. So we are just a slab on grade. So we only have to take our footings down, obviously, with what they need to get bearing. So, and again, staying off the backside of that so that it could be more. I mean, obviously we could go into ways that we could handle it with the least invasiveness as possible. We're not asking to excavate any of the old footings down on the backside. We could actually take off the tops and probably do some backfill into that area and clean it up. So should be a pretty easy fix.
Let me ask a follow-up question on this. The hillside development guidelines do restrict cut and fills in hillside districts to 8 feet. I see that you're not asking for that relief, so I know that any cut fill here would be less than that. Do you have that
is correct.
Is there an amount? Is there any cut fill, and do you know the distance there?
We don't know exactly what that is yet, but it won't be anywhere near 8 feet as far as that goes.
And did you engage with a geotechnical engineer
We have, it's
prior to your
included.
submission,
Yeah.
right?
And Stan is also a civil engineer.
Got it. And their conclusion was that the site is suitable for construction of the residence proposed.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Whitty, did you have any other questions or comments?
No, that's it. Looking forward to seeing the project take shape, and welcome to the neighborhood.
Thanks for coming by. Are we allowed to ask where you live?
Yeah, I'm in 2128 Loth Street, and then I also own 2120 and 2122. So
Okay.
the property's directly behind this
Okay.
project.
Got it.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
Great.
sounds like coffee or a beer. Sounds good.
right.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Whitty. I appreciate you being here and your questions. All right. I'll turn it over to Wes here from the City Zoning Department. Wes, anything you wanted to add?
Maybe just highlight a couple things. It was mentioned about a house a couple lots up that had a variance or hillside relief, and I found that case number. It's ZH20240160 at 2127 Rice, and that was for a front setback to allow a 0 front setback. So just kind of outlining that was from November 2023. Yeah, a couple other comments just highlighting that, all the lots on this block are shallow than maybe a typical lot you'd try and design today. And it's a lot of record. It's been there. There was a house on there. I just was checking on that. A house that extended all the way to the rear alley, as far as its footprint, that was in the 2011 aerial, and then it didn't show up in the 2015 aerial, so it must have been torn down between those 2 years. And as Michael mentioned, there's no cut and fill relief needed for the proposal, and there's no height relief needed. The setbacks are conforming except for the front. So, all in all, very sound design proposal. Thanks.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Wes. Appreciate your testimony and your work on the staff report. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to the applicant owner side. Anything you'd like to say in response to any of Wes's comments or anything else in closing or otherwise before we adjourn here today?
I don't know if Will, you've got anything. I think we feel pretty good about where we are. We think we've got a kind of a quality strategy here to go forward. I think it fits well into the neighborhood. We're kind of excited. It actually kind of hits a current marketing thinking as far as what could infill the neighborhood. As Will mentioned, a number of those adjacencies with the schools and that sort of thing. So yeah, we're ready for the next project. So just send your developers our way. And
Okay.
Well, did you
I
have anything? I didn't mean to.
I guess like maybe just in closing, I think that I just want to emphasize that part of the point of like one of the things that I'm passionate about is housing, and I think that Cincinnati is it's a great city, and I think that that just has a lot of older housing stock that can, and I think that the opportunities to build stuff, especially that's not going to be at a price point of $1 million, like this is a small house that is designed to be affordable, and I think that that's something that we need. There's enough $1 million houses on the hill. I think it's nice to the point of this is to have something that that's affordable for people who want to be in the city and like in the urban core. So that's
Okay.
That's what I'll close with.
Well, well
Okay,
said.
great. Yeah, I think the administration would agree with you that affordable housing and reasonable priced housing is definitely needed in Cincinnati. I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report, and based on that and the testimony that I've heard here today, I agree with the contentions and arguments of the applicant and owners here. I think this project is consistent with historic development and recent infill development that I have approved in the past. based on all those factors, I am going to approve the project. I think it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this particular application. And so I need to formalize that decision in a written decision, as I think some of you are familiar with. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll try and get that out to you as quickly as I possibly can. As soon as I finish it, I put it into a PDF and I'll email it to you. So you'll have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. As soon as you have that, Wes can approve the zoning permitting on his end and you all can take the next steps. Any questions about that process or anything else? Okay, great.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all for your time and testimony. Good luck with the project, and we are adjourned. Have a great day.